Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of EduBytes. In this one, we'll continue with our tips for preparing for Ramadan for educators. And the first tip is getting excited about it. And before we get into the details of how to get excited about it, I just want to preface it by actually reminding ourselves of the framework that will be used to share the tips. And the framework is the model of education in the Quran, which I had covered in another presentation previously. So if you want to review that, you can go back to that presentation and take a look at and watch that one. The according as per the framework laid out for any type of learning in the Quran, any type of learning actually begins with awareness and then goes on to purification, acquisition of knowledge, and then application of that knowledge. So in this one, we'll be starting with awareness. So the first step, and this is the first tip, is really to become aware that the month of Ramadan is approaching us and to get excited about it. And that might seem very simplistic in terms of, and may seem very obvious, but really we need to get excited about the month of Ramadan as teachers, as educators. And when we are excited, then our excitement, will transfer over to our students, to the class, to the school, and eventually to the homes of our students and on a community-wide basis. So that's the first step, is to get excited about it and to be passionate about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reminds us in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والذين آمنوا أشد حبا لله, that those who believe love Allah with an intense passion. So this passion needs to be evident in everything that we do. And when we are passionate, then our students will be passionate as well. And this is how the Prophet ﷺ used to be. Jabir ibn Abdullah, he says that when the Prophet ﷺ used to give the khutbah, his eyes would redden, he would raise his voice, and his anger would intensify to the point that it was like he was warning of an imminent military invasion. So, and we know that the Prophet ﷺ, by his very nature, he was a mildly tempered person. He didn't resort to extremes in expressing his emotions. But when the time called for it, he would, his passion would become evident in his voice, in his expressions, in his gestures, and that was contagious, and that actually inspired the companions to be passionate about this new faith that he was introducing to them. And that's how, as teachers, we need to be, because if people with great passion, they can make the impossible happen. And one of the challenges that we see in our students sometimes is they're not really passionate about their learning and so on. So passion will move our students beyond themselves, beyond their shortcomings, and beyond their failures. So let's start with the tips. The first tip is really to start talking about it, right? Integrating the month of Ramadan, the concept that it is approaching us in our khutab, in talks, in our lessons. So that's the first. And if you notice here, what I've done is with each activity, I've indicated the impact that it would have in terms of its circle of influence. So giving talks and so on, it will impact on a community-wide level, starting with the self. The other activity that we can do is start a countdown calendar. We could do this on a school-wide basis, especially for the older grades, but for the younger grades in the early childhood, at the early childhood level, teachers can actually integrate this into their morning routines. So starting a countdown calendar to Ramadan, this would be something that would generate the excitement. Another way to generate excitement on a school-wide basis, on a class-wide basis, would be to actually have a competition for the best decorated bulletin board, the best decorated classroom door, and the class that wins maybe gets a donut party, gets a cookie party, ice cream party. So there are many ways to really celebrate the coming of the Ramadan, to highlight and get excited about it. Another way would be to have a poster contest, right? That the students would design posters on different themes that are in the month of Ramadan, and maybe even have a t-shirt contest, and maybe the best t-shirt design is put on the t-shirt, and the t-shirts are sold and everybody wears a t-shirt. Maybe we have a t-shirt day on a school-wide basis assigned every week, maybe every Friday or every one day a week, where everybody can wear a t-shirt. So that would be another way to generate some excitement about the coming of the month. One thing that I've personally done myself in my classes when I used to teach a while back is actually to have students make poems, and have also the spoken word, right? And have poetry recitals. And you can actually find a lesson plan for this on the website. So if you're interested, look at the links that I've provided in this video in the show more information section, and you should be able to access those lesson plans. There's a variety of art activities online that teachers have done an amazing, wonderful job of putting these activities. So I would encourage you to go out there and search for these activities. There are Ramadan kits, ideas about what to put in the Ramadan kits. So there's a variety of art activities that we can implement in our classrooms as teachers that would also put the coming of the Ramadan right in front of us and get us excited about it. Designing games, contests, Ramadan trivia. So these are all different activities that are available online. We can design ourselves. We can model some of these games after some of the popular games, board games that are in existence, and also some online games, electronic games that are available. So, and by the way, this is an excellent way of actually for our students to learn more about Ramadan. We can put in a lot of different questions that would teach our students the details about this month, the history of this month, what we're supposed to do, what is expected of us to do in this month. A wonderful way that I've found, and a very effective way, is when we make our students actually write the questions. Because when students write questions, instead of just the expectation that they should give us answers, what we are doing as educators is we're actually making them think twice. So when they're writing questions, they're not only thinking about the question, but also they're thinking about the answer, but then also they're thinking about the complexity of the information that is contained in that question and how to trump the other person, right? So it's a great way of really increasing the critical thinking level of our students by having them write the questions themselves to these games and to these trivia games. So those are some of the activities that I've shared, but those are not the only ones that are out there. I've seen teachers implement some amazing activities, ideas to welcome the month of Ramadan. So please go out there and get on the internet and do some research, and just borrow ideas from others. And getting the ideas is not difficult, honestly. What is more important is, as I've mentioned, is really getting excited about it, getting passionate about the coming of the month of Ramadan. And when we do that, we will see that passion being transferred to our students. We'll see them get excited about this month. So thank you for watching. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Prophet ﷺ used to ask, Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. Oh Allah, bless the month of Rajab and Sha'ban for us, and enable us to witness the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, in the next episode, we'll be talking about tip number 2, which is doing our laundry before Ramadan, and how we can do that with our students on a class-wide basis and on a school-wide basis. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان. والروح والريحان يا دائم الترتيل للذكر والتنزيل. بشراك يوم رحيل ستفوز بالغفران.